Drummerly.com Unlimited Drama Series.
The stench of rotting garbage mixed with my own desperation as I dug through the dumpster behind Romano's Italian kitchen. My fingers, numb from the Chicago winter, closed around what looked like half a meatball sub. Score. Nothing like a gourmet meal of questionable leftovers to remind you how far you've fallen. Oh my God, is that Michael Thompson? The voice cut through the alley like a blade. The guy from those insurance commercials? I froze, half buried in trash, and slowly turned. 3 women in designer coats stood at the alley entrance, smartphones already out. One of them was recording. Holy shit, it is him! The blonde in the fur coat laughed. Didn't he used to be married to that real estate queen? What's her name? Lena? Yeah, Lena Thompson. She's dating Chad Hamilton now, the guy who owns all those luxury car dealerships. The brunette stepped closer. Her phone's camera focused on my humiliation. This is going straight to Instagram. My followers are going to die. I climbed out of the dumpster, brushing pizza sauce off my torn jacket. Ladies, if you're done documenting my fall from grace, I've got a very important appointment with this cardboard box over here. They giggled like hyenas and walked away, already uploading my shame to social media. I could hear their conversation fading. Can you believe Lena left him for Chad? Smart woman. Who wants a broke loser anyway? Smart woman. Right. Smart enough to clean out our joint accounts while I was in rehab for the drinking problem she drove me to. Smart enough to turn our kids against me with her lies. Smart enough to destroy my acting career by spreading rumors about my unstable behavior to every casting director in the city. I settled onto my cardboard throne behind the dumpster and unwrapped my prize. The meatball sub was only 3 days expired, practically fresh. My phone, a cracked piece of garbage I'd bought at a pawn shop, buzzed. Unknown number. The Michael Thompson? The voice was crisp, professional. Depends who's asking. If this is about that parking ticket from 2019, I'm officially dead. Mr. Thompson, my name is Harrison Black. I represent the estate of your late great-uncle, Cornelius Thompson. I need to meet with you immediately. I laughed, spraying meatball crumbs. Great-uncle Cornelius? Never heard of him. Nice try, but I'm not falling for whatever scam this is. Sir, I assure you this is legitimate. Your great-uncle passed away last month and left you a substantial inheritance. However, there are conditions. The line went quiet except for the sound of my heart hammering. How substantial are we talking? $47 million, a penthouse in Manhattan, and a yacht. But as I mentioned, there are very specific conditions you must fulfill. I dropped the sub. This is a joke, right? Someone's pranking the homeless guy? I'm standing outside Romano's Italian kitchen right now, Mr. Thompson. I can see you behind the dumpster. I looked up. A tall man in an expensive black coat stood at the alley entrance, holding a briefcase and a cell phone. Even from 50 feet away, I could see the Rolex on his wrist. Jesus Christ. I stood up, legs shaky. You're serious. Deadly serious. Shall we discuss this somewhere more private? 20 minutes later, I sat in the back of Harrison Black's Mercedes, trying not to get garbage stench on his leather seats. He handed me a thick envelope and a brass key. The inheritance is real, Mr. Thompson. But your great-uncle was eccentric. He believed wealth without purpose was meaningless. To claim your inheritance, you must help 100 people find their life's purpose within 10 years. I stared at the key. It was warm in my palm, solid and real. That's it? Help people find their purpose? Not quite. Black's smile was thin. The first person you must help is someone who destroyed you, someone who took everything from you and left you with nothing. My blood turned to ice. You don't mean... He handed me another envelope, this one sealed with red wax. Your first assignment is your ex-wife, Lena Thompson. You must genuinely help her find her true purpose in life, or the inheritance goes to charity. I stared at the envelope like it might explode. You want me to help the woman who ruined my life? I want you to save her soul, Mr. Thompson. And in doing so, perhaps save your own. He dropped me off at a cheap motel on the south side, Room 237. The key fit perfectly. Inside, I found clean clothes, toiletries, and a laptop. On the desk was a note in spidery handwriting. Michael. Revenge is a dish best served with a side of redemption. Help those who hurt you, and you'll discover something more valuable than money. Your journey begins now. Uncle Cornelius. I laughed until I cried, then cried until I laughed. My great uncle wanted me to help Lena? The woman who told our children I was a violent drunk? The woman who leaked stories to the tabloids about my erratic behavior on set? The woman who was now living in my dream house with her luxury car dealer boyfriend? Fine. I'd help her all right. I'd help her straight into hell. The hot shower was the first luxury I'd experienced in 8 months. As the grime of homelessness swirled down the drain, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Hope. Twisted, vengeful hope, but hope nonetheless. I spent the night researching Lena and Chad on the laptop. Social media had made stalking so much easier. Their Instagram accounts were public, full of nauseating couple photos. Lena in designer dresses at charity galas, Chad showing off his latest Ferrari, both of them living high on the money that used to be mine. But social media also revealed cracks in their perfect facade. Chad's ex-wife, Patricia, had been posting cryptic messages about liars and cheaters. Lena's business partner, Vincent Russo, had been tagged in fewer photos lately. And most interesting of all, Lena's best friend, Tina Martinez, had been spending an awful lot of time at Lena's house when Chad wasn't around. I made a list of everyone who'd turned their back on me when Lena started her smear campaign. Marcus Webb, my former agent. Jennifer Collins, who'd been my closest friend until Lena convinced her I was dangerous. Tom Bradley, my old drinking buddy, who'd stopped returning my calls. Time to remind them all who they were dealing with. My first stop was Hamilton Luxury Motors, Chad's flagship dealership. I'd cleaned up nicely. The clothes Black had left me were expensive, well-tailored. I looked like a man with money to spend. Chad was in his office, visible through the glass walls, talking on his phone. He'd put on weight since stealing my wife. Success agreed with him. "Can I help you?" A young salesman approached, all teeth and ambition. "I'm looking for something special. A Ferrari, maybe. I just came into some money." His eyes lit up. "Excellent choice, sir. We have a beautiful 488 Spider that just came in." Mr. Hamilton was actually considering keeping it for himself. Mr. Hamilton? I feigned ignorance. "Is he the owner?" "Yes, sir. Chad Hamilton. Great guy, very successful. Married to that beautiful real estate woman, Lena Thompson." Lena Thompson? I let surprise color my voice. "I think I know her. Wasn't she married to that actor guy, Michael something?" The salesman's expression shifted. "Oh, you mean Michael Thompson? Yeah, that was unfortunate. Guy completely lost it from what I heard. Drinking, erratic behavior. Mrs. Thompson had to leave him for her own safety." I nodded sympathetically. How terrible. Well, let's look at that Ferrari. The 488 Spider was gorgeous. Red as fresh blood. Leather interior that probably cost more than most people's cars. Chad emerged from his office as we approached it. "This is Mr." The salesman realized he'd never gotten my name. "Smith," I said, extending my hand to Chad. "John Smith." Chad's handshake was firm, confident. He didn't recognize me. Why would he? The last time he'd seen me, I was being dragged out of my own house by security guards, while Lena filed her restraining order. "Beautiful car," I said, running my hand along the hood. "Mind if I take it for a test drive?" "Of course." Chad's smile was all business. "Tommy here. We'll ride with you." Actually, I pulled out my phone, showing them a banking app I'd quickly set up. "I'm pre-approved for financing. 200,000 credit limit. I'd prefer to drive alone, get a real feel for the car. Chad's eyes widened at the credit limit. Tommy, get Mr. Smith the keys. I drove the Ferrari to the nearest fish market and bought 50 pounds of the oldest, smelliest fish they had. Then I stopped at a construction site and filled the trunk with concrete mix, making sure to tear the leather seats with the rough bags. For the final touch, I visited a pet store and bought a dozen crickets, releasing them into the air vents. When I returned the car an hour later, Chad was waiting with paperwork. How did she drive? And he asked. Like a dream. But I think I'll shop around a bit more before making a decision. I handed him the keys and walked away. It would take them hours to discover what I'd done, and by then, I'd be long gone. My phone rang as I walked down Michigan Avenue. Michael Thompson? The voice was familiar. Marcus? Marcus Webb? Yeah, it's me. Listen, someone told me you might be back in the game? My former agent sounded nervous. Interesting. Depends what game we're talking about, Marcus. Acting. I might have something for you. Small part, but it pays well. Can we meet? I smiled. Word was already spreading that I had money again. In Hollywood, money was the only thing that mattered. Sure, Marcus. Let's meet at that place on Rush Street. You remember where you told me my career was over? Silence. Then, Michael, about that, I was just being realistic. The industry is tough, and with everything that happened, everything that happened? You mean when my wife lied about me to destroy my reputation? Look, can we just meet? I think we can put the past behind us. Oh, Marcus. The past is just getting started. I hung up and called a private investigator I'd found online. Danny Rodriguez came highly recommended for discreet inquiries. Within 2 hours, he'd sent me a comprehensive report on Lena's current situation. She was leveraging everything for one massive deal, a luxury condo development on the lakefront. If it went through, she'd make $20 million. If it fell apart, she'd lose everything. The deal hinged on her reputation and relationships. One scandal, one hint of impropriety, and her investors would run. I opened my laptop and started typing. The blog post was titled, "The Real Lena Thompson, A Victim's Story." I didn't use my name, just called myself a concerned former spouse. I detailed her financial manipulations during our divorce, her affair with Chad while we were still married, and her systematic campaign to destroy my career and relationship with our children. I included screenshots of text messages she'd sent me, calling me pathetic and threatening to bury me if I fought the divorce. I included photos of her and Chad together, taken months before she claimed our marriage was over. But the real bombshell was the audio recording. I'd kept it all these years, not sure why. It was from our final fight, the night before she had me thrown out of our house. Her voice crystal clear, saying things that would make her charity gala friends clutch their pearls. You're nothing, Michael. You're a washed-up actor with a drinking problem, and everyone knows it. I'm going to make sure you never work in this city again. I'm going to tell everyone what a pathetic, violent loser you really are. Our kids will be ashamed to carry your name. I posted the blog anonymously and sent the link to every real estate blog, gossip site, and local news outlet I could find. Then I waited. The story exploded overnight. Lena Thompson Exposed was trending on Twitter by morning. The audio recording was being shared thousands of times. Comments poured in from people sharing their own stories about Lena's ruthless business practices. My phone rang at 6 a.m. You bastard! Lena's voice was shaking with rage. I know this was you. Good morning, Lena. Lovely day, isn't it? You think you can destroy me? You think some pathetic blog post is going to ruin everything I've built? I don't think anything, sweetheart. I know it. My lawyers will bury you. I'll sue you for everything you have. I laughed. What am I going to lose? My cardboard box? My collection of expired sandwiches? Go ahead and sue me. I'm sure your investors will love reading about our legal battle in the newspapers. The line went quiet except for her breathing. What do you want? She finally asked. I want to help you, Lena. I want to help you find your true purpose in life. Are you insane? Probably. Meet me tonight at the signature room. 9 o'clock. Come alone. Why would I do that? Because if you don't, tomorrow's blog post will be about your relationship with Tina Martinez. And I have photos. The silence stretched so long, I thought she'd hung up. 9 o'clock, she whispered, and the line went dead. I leaned back in my motel room chair and smiled. Phase 1 was complete. Time to save Lena's soul. The signature room sat on the 95th floor of the John Hancock building, offering a panoramic view of Chicago that used to take my breath away. Tonight, it just reminded me how far I'd fallen and how high I intended to climb. Lena arrived 15 minutes late, a power play I remembered well. She'd lost weight since I'd last seen her, and there were lines around her eyes that hadn't been there before. Success was apparently more stressful than she'd expected. She slid into the booth across from me, her Hermes bag clutched like a shield. "You look good," I said, signaling the waiter. "Prosperity agrees with you." "Cut the bullshit, Michael. What do you want?" The waiter approached, and I ordered 2 glasses of their most expensive wine. Lena tried to wave him away, but I insisted. "We're celebrating," I told him. "My ex-wife just lost a
Intimate text until another weather unit.
Watch more on Grammarly.com.
$20 million deal." Lena's face went white. "What are you talking about?" I pulled out my phone and showed her the email I'd received an hour ago. "Vincent Russo sends his regrets. Apparently, your investors got cold feet after reading about your character issues online." She snatched the phone, reading quickly. Her hands were shaking. "This isn't possible. Vincent wouldn't. We've been partners for 5 years. Vincent's a businessman, Lena. He can't afford to be associated with someone who's become a liability." The wine arrived. I raised my glass in a toast. "To new beginnings." She didn't touch her glass. "How did you do this?" "You're homeless. You have no money, no connections, no power." "Funny thing about having nothing to lose," I said, taking a sip. "It's incredibly liberating." "What do you want?" she repeated. "I told you. I want to help you." "Help me what? Lose everything I've worked for?" "Help you find your true purpose." "See, Lena, I've recently come into some money, a lot of money, and with that money comes certain obligations." I told her about the inheritance, about Uncle Cornelius and his strange conditions. Her expression shifted from anger to confusion to something that might have been hope. "You're saying you have $47 million? Give or take a few million in interest. And you have to help me? That's the deal. Help you find your life's purpose or lose everything." She leaned back, processing. I could see the wheels turning in her head, calculating angles and advantages. "So if you help me, you get rich. And if you don't help me, you stay poor. That's about the size of it. What exactly does helping me find my purpose mean?" I smiled. "That's what we're going to figure out together." Her phone buzzed. She glanced at it, and her face crumpled. "Chad?" I asked. She nodded, not looking up. "He says he needs space. Says the negative publicity is affecting his business." "Ah, so when things get tough, he runs. Interesting." "Shut up. I'm not judging Lena. I'm observing. Chad's a fair-weather boyfriend. When you were on top, he was happy to enjoy the benefits. Now that you're facing adversity, he's nowhere to be found. You don't know anything about our relationship." "I know he's been cheating on you with his secretary for 3 months." She looked up sharply. "That's not true." I pulled out a manila folder and slid it across the table. "Private investigator. Very thorough. Her name is Ashley Chen. 23 years old. Works at his downtown location. They've been meeting at the Palmer House every Tuesday and Thursday." Lena opened the folder with trembling hands. The photos were explicit enough to leave no doubt. "Why are you showing me this?" "Because you deserve to know the truth. Just like I deserve to know the truth about you and Chad, before you destroyed our marriage." She was crying now, mascara running down her cheeks. "I loved him." "No. You loved what he represented. Success, status, security. But you never loved him. And I suppose I loved you? Once, maybe. Before the ambition ate you alive." I reached across the table and took her hand. She didn't pull away. "Lena, when did you stop being happy?" "What? When did you stop being happy? Really, genuinely happy?" She stared at me for a long moment. "I don't remember." "I do. It was about 5 years ago when you made your first million. You thought money would solve everything, make you feel complete. But it didn't, did it? Money is security. Money is a tool. But you made it your god. Her phone buzzed again. This time it was a text from Tina Martinez. Girl, we need to talk. Emergency. I saw her read it and smiled. Tina's probably wondering if the photos I have of you two are going to surface next. Lena went completely still. Photos of what? Last month, the charity auction after party. You and Tina in the coat room. Very intimate. We were just talking. With your tongues? She jerked her hand away from mine. You're disgusting. I'm thorough. See, while I was living on the streets, I had a lot of time to think. And one of the things I thought about was why you really left me. It wasn't the drinking. It wasn't my career problems. It was because you were figuring out who you really are. I know exactly who I am. Do you? Because from where I'm sitting, you look like someone who's spent so long pretending to be what others expect that you've forgotten your authentic self. This is ridiculous. I'm leaving. She started to stand, but I caught her wrist. Sit down, Lena. We're not finished. Let go of me. Vincent Russo isn't the only partner you're going to lose. I've sent copies of that audio recording to every major real estate firm in the city. By tomorrow morning, you'll be persona non grata in the entire industry. She sat back down, her face pale. But, I continued, I can fix this. I can rehabilitate your reputation, get you back in the game. I can even get Vincent to reconsider the lakefront deal. How? By helping you become the person you're meant to be, instead of the person you think you should be. And what if I refuse? I shrugged. Then you lose everything. Your business, your reputation, your money. Chad's already bailing. Tina will probably throw you under the bus to save herself. Your kids will be embarrassed to be associated with you. You're threatening our children? I'm stating facts. Sarah's already changed her last name back to Thompson on her social media. David won't return your calls. It was true. I'd been monitoring our kids' online activity. They were both adults now, capable of making their own decisions about their mother's behavior. This is blackmail. This is karma. But I'm offering you a way out. The waiter brought our food, but neither of us touched it. Lena sat staring out at the city lights, tears still streaming down her face. What do you want me to do? She finally asked. I want you to spend the next month working for me, as my assistant. Your assistant? I'm starting a consulting business, helping people find their purpose in life. You'll be my first employee and my first client. You want me to work for you? After everything? I want you to remember what it feels like to serve others instead of serving yourself. And if I do this, you'll help me get my life back. I'll help you get a better life, one that's actually worth living. She was quiet for a long time, staring at her untouched wine. I don't have a choice, do I? There's always a choice, Lena. But some choices lead to growth, and others lead to destruction. Fine, 1 month. Excellent. I raised my glass again. To new beginnings. This time, she picked up her glass and drank. As we left the restaurant, her phone rang. Chad's name appeared on the screen. Aren't you going to answer it? She looked at the phone, then at me, then dropped it in the nearest trash can. I think I'm done taking his calls. Good, that's progress already. We rode the elevator down in silence. When we reached the lobby, I handed her a business card. Thompson Life Consulting. Be there at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Dress code is business casual, not Hermes and attitude. What will I be doing? Learning to help people, starting with yourself. As she walked away, I felt something I hadn't experienced in years. Satisfaction. Not the cheap thrill of revenge, but the deeper satisfaction of setting things right. My phone buzzed with a text from Harrison Black. Interesting approach, Mr. Thompson. Your uncle would be proud. I looked up at the towering building above me and smiled. Just getting started, Uncle Cornelius. Just getting started. Thompson Life Consulting occupied a modest office space in River North. Nothing fancy, but professional enough to be taken seriously. I'd rented it using a small portion of my inheritance advance, furnished it simply with 2 desks, some chairs, and motivational posters that would have made me vomit a week ago. Lena arrived at exactly 9 a.m., wearing jeans and a simple blouse. No jewelry, minimal makeup. She looked younger, more vulnerable. Nice office, she said, looking around. It serves its purpose. Coffee? Please. I poured 2 cups from the machine I'd bought yesterday. Your first assignment is to help me help Tommy. Tommy? Homeless guy I met behind Romano's. He's coming in at 10. You want me to counsel a homeless person? I want you to listen to a homeless person. There's a difference. Tommy arrived right on time, clean and nervous in clothes I'd bought him. He was 62 years old, a Vietnam veteran who'd been on the streets for 3 years after losing his job at the post office. Tommy, this is Lena. She's going to be working with us. Tommy shook her hand politely. Nice to meet you, ma'am. Please, sit down, I said. Tommy, tell us about your situation. For the next hour, Tommy told his story. How he'd started drinking after his wife died of cancer. How he'd lost his job for showing up drunk. How his adult children had cut him off after he'd borrowed money and spent it on alcohol instead of rent. Lena listened without interrupting, her expression growing more thoughtful as Tommy talked. What do you want most? She finally asked. To see my grandkids again, Tommy said without hesitation. They don't even know me. My daughter won't let me near them. What would it take for that to happen? I'd have to get sober, stay sober, get a job, a place to live, prove I'm not the man I was 3 years ago. That sounds achievable, Lena said. Tommy laughed bitterly. Easy for you to say. You got money, connections, opportunities. I got nothing. I had money, Lena corrected quietly. I lost most of it this week, and the connections I thought I had disappeared the moment I needed them. So what are you saying? I'm saying maybe we can help each other figure this out. I watched the conversation with growing amazement. This was the Lena I'd fallen in love with 20 years ago. Compassionate, engaged, real. After Tommy left with a list of AA meetings and job placement services, Lena turned to me. That felt good. What felt good? Helping someone without expecting anything in return. When's the last time you did that? She thought for a moment. I honestly can't remember. My phone rang. Jennifer Collins, my former best friend. Michael? Oh my God. I heard you were back. I've been trying to reach you. Have you now? Funny, I've been in the same city this whole time. Just living under a bridge. Silence, then. I know you're angry, and you have every right to be. But I want to explain. Explain what, Jen? How you believed every lie Lena told about me? How you testified in her divorce proceeding that I was violent and unstable? She showed me photos, Michael. Bruises on her arms? She said you'd hurt her. I looked at Lena, who had gone very pale. Interesting. What kind of bruises? Finger marks on her wrists. A bruise on her shoulder. And it never occurred to you that someone could fake those? Or get them from someone else? What are you saying? I'm saying your friend Lena is a very talented actress. Lena, want to tell Jen how you really got those bruises? Lena was staring at the floor. Lena! Chad, she whispered. Chad gave me those bruises. What? Jennifer's voice was sharp. Chad was rough, sometimes. When he'd been drinking, but I couldn't admit that, So you blamed me, I finished. Let me guess. Chad suggested it? She nodded, tears starting again. Jen, you still there? I'm here. Lena, is this true? Yes. Jesus Christ. Michael, I am so sorry. I don't know what to say. There's nothing to say, Jen. You made your choice. Can we meet? Can I make this right? Maybe someday, but not today. I hung up and looked at Lena, who was crying openly now. Feel better? No, I feel horrible. Good. That means your conscience isn't completely dead. The rest of the morning was spent setting up systems for our little consulting business. Lena threw herself into the work with surprising enthusiasm, organizing files, scheduling appointments, researching resources for clients. At lunch, she asked, Why are you really doing this? Which part? All of it. The business, helping Tommy, making me face what I did. I considered the question while eating my sandwich. Because I spent 8 months hating you, and hatred is exhausting. I'd rather spend my energy building something than destroying something. But you are destroying things. My reputation, my business relationships. I'm destroying the lies you built your life on. There's a difference. My phone buzzed with a text from my private investigator. Chad Hamilton arrested for assault. Thought you should know. I showed Lena the message. Her face went white. Ashley? Probably. Looks like Chad has a pattern. You have to what? Rush to his rescue? Bail him out? Make excuses for him? He needs help. He needs consequences. There's a difference. She stared at the message for a long time. I really loved him, you know. No, you didn't. You loved the idea of him. Rich, successful, charming. But you never knew the real him. And you? Did I ever love the real you? I think so, for a while. Before I became a disappointment to you. You were never a disappointment. You were just not ambitious enough. I was ambitious about the wrong things. I wanted to be happy. You wanted to be successful. Is there a difference? All the difference in the world. That afternoon, we had 3 more clients. A single mother trying to go back to school, a middle-aged man who'd lost his job and his sense of purpose, a teenager whose parents were pushing her toward a career she didn't want. With each conversation, I watched Lena become more engaged, more present. She asked thoughtful questions, offered practical suggestions, and listened without judgment. At